you're looking for spiritual guidance, and you might find somebody who knows something, or you think they know something, or maybe they have a book or something like that. And, um, I think what I'm thinking about this like attracts like thing that I was talking about earlier, much earlier in this show, and that if you are a healthy person emotionally, you're going to when you're looking for a medicine or holy person to help you with something, you it's like trying out a car. You know what I mean? Or trying on clothes. I know people may disagree, but I humbly believe this to be so. That you really should, kind of test them out, because just because the people say they're a medicine man doesn't mean they're good. Like for example, a medicine man, let's say he's really nice to to people. Yeah, he's humble and stuff, and then maybe somebody from that family, let's say a young boy from that family, is going to do a sweat lodge, wants to do a sweat lodge ceremony. So the mother contacts this medicine man and says, "Yeah, my son's really interested in this. Can you next time you have a session, can he participate with you guys?" And then he'll say, "Yeah, sure, yeah." And so this guy would have a reputation, that mostly everybody, they have nothing but good things to say about him. Like he did this and this and this and all these wonderful things. And so then the boy hears this too, so he thinks, yeah, he's going to go by what everybody's saying. Yeah, so he goes into the sweat lodge ceremony with this medicine man and some other people that are there. And then after the second session, because usually, for those of you that don't know, this Lakota version of a sweat lodge ceremony has 4 sessions, and they break between sessions. Yeah, you can. It doesn't matter it doesn't matter how long a session lasts. Yeah, because as soon as somebody feels a little bit uncomfortable, all they have to say is "mitake oyasing," and then the session's over. Yeah, so there's a doorman sitting outside the sweat lodge, so the medicine man hollers at him and says, "Okay, well, go ahead and open the flap." So he opens the door and that session's over. So it doesn't have to be a long session. Sometimes a session might even be just 10 minutes long, maybe even shorter. There's no rule. As soon as somebody gets uncomfortable, he could. All he has to say, and then nobody's gonna make him feel bad, because everybody's there to support each other. So it's okay. Yeah, and if somebody gets mad, then that person should be escorted out of the sweat lodge because he's brought an unhealthy energy there. Yeah, and so normally people do support one another. They help each other. Yeah. So in this story, let's say, like I said, this young man, he wants to experience a sweat lodge ceremony for the first time. So and this medicine man really gets along good with his mother. So, like I said, the mother calls him, and she has a talk with him, and and says, "Hey, this my son is interested. He wants to experience a sweat lodge ceremony. Can you take him?" And so they say, "Okay, yeah, we'll take him." And like I was saying, let's say the first 2 sessions go good, and then after the second session, see, sometimes normally you just stay in there, yeah, because the sweat lodge door is open, especially when it's winter time, and the door is open and cool air is coming in, but you don't want to go out there, you don't want to catch a cold either, yeah. So let's say they just stay in, but the door is open, okay. So after the second session, let's say the medicine man says, "Okay, maybe he senses that the guy's nervous." Yeah, so he says, "Just go ahead and lay down." And he said, "It's okay." And it's still dark. Yeah, you can't really see inside there. It's still dark, especially when these are done out in the country. And next thing you know, this young man starts to feel somebody touching his penis and starting to stroke his penis and stroke his testicles. And he kind of tenses up because he's like, what the fuck is going on? But he's too scared to say anything. Yeah? He's too scared to say anything because everybody else knows this medicine man as a good man. But yet, as soon as he tenses up, the medicine man says, calm down, it's okay. Yeah? Shh, it's okay, he says. Yeah? And then maybe others in there are kind of going, what's going on? They can't see. Yeah? The guy is getting molested by this medicine man. Yeah? You see what I mean? You really can't go by what other people say. Because the medicine man might be really nice to a lot of people, but when he senses a certain kind of personality that he can dominate, then he will. Because you have to remember, medicine people, they're human. They're not superhuman. They don't have any power. Yeah, it's nature that's working through them. It's the healing energies of nature that's working through them. But they actually have no power whatsoever. And they are not perfect. They do make mistakes. Some of them even get drunk. Some of them even use drugs. Some of them smoke cigarettes. Some of them are really overweight. They are not perfectly healthy. They are not perfect. I've heard things like this happen many times, that a guy might be really good, but then all of a sudden to some individual he starts touching his penis. Why? And then if you try to question it, he's going to say it's the spirits doing that. But you can sense, when you can sense which direction the hand is facing, yeah? And then you can, even in the dark, you can see, okay, his thumb is here. That means his arm is going this way. It's going right in the direction of that medicine man. It can only be him. And so after the ceremony's over, he just acts normal because he doesn't know what to do. Yeah, so he gets up and he goes home, and now he's troubled. He just got molested. What he should do is call the cops, because that's a sexual assault. Because see, a real holy person or medicine man, he's going to tell you what's happening. He's going to say, that this has to happen, this has to happen. Are you okay with that? If you're not okay, then he won't do it, because he doesn't want you to be nervous. You have a choice, but when you are put in a situation where suddenly you have no choice, and he's touching you and he's feeling you, and then he says, "Shh, be quiet." Shh, just hang in there. So he might even say they're healing you, and that might not even be it. You see what I mean? There are guys in the South. I heard of this one story, and I shouldn't. This is not gossip, so I shouldn't say I heard. Okay, so let me restate that, because what I'm saying is true. In New Mexico, there was a guy who was he was from Pine Ridge, and he participated in a lot of ceremonies, so he knew his way around. Yeah. And so he knew enough information to pretend to be a medicine man, in other places of the world. So he set up camp in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and he started, going to these art places, and he started to prey on white women that were really fantasizing about Indians. And so you'd see them in bookshops, or maybe some kind of a meeting at a bookstore or something like that, and then he would be really friendly, and because he's smart, and he's just charming this woman and stuff, and then he'll, when they're alone, he'll eventually say to her that he's a medicine man, and that he senses that she's going through some trouble, and she's gonna say, yeah, that's right. And the fact is, usually, mostly everybody's wondering about something. Yes, it's not a fantastic discovery when you say that to somebody, because usually somebody, we are thinking about something. Yeah. So anyway, he started to gain this woman's confidence, and then he said that they could do a ceremony called the medicine wheel ceremony, and they had it up in the mountains of Albuquerque. And to make a long story short, what he did is he drew a big medicine wheel on the side of on the ground, yeah, and then he tied her so that her arms and legs were tied to the four directions, so she was all spread eagle, yeah. And he said that he drew a circle around her, and he said this was a holy area, and that he said to be healed, he said he has to inject her with something, and he had her eyes, he said this is a sacred thing, so you can't see this, he said, because the healing people are going to leave. This is what he said to her. So to make sure that her eyes stayed shut, he put a blindfold around her eyes. And remember, she's all tied up now, yeah. And then he proceeded to rape her. But he tried to not touch her with the rest of his body. And then he was trying to talk normal, trying to throw his voice, trying to make it look like he's someplace else, and saying that it's the holy people are putting something inside you now. Yeah, the spirits are putting a healing energy inside of you. It's gonna feel like a water fountain or something like that. And that what he's saying is he's really gonna he's gonna orgasm inside of her. He's not using a condom. And so but she just she's not in control, and she just senses that something is really wrong. See, this is you should trust your hunch. Yeah. And so she realizes that, and then he says to her that she has to stay up there the whole night because of the healing beings that are going to come throughout the night and cure her of her mental illness. And so by this time she's so scared because she realizes she's just been raped. And so she screams and screams, and finally, early in the morning, some hikers walk by, and they see her laying there all naked and tied up like that, and they know that something is wrong. So they go over there and they put a blanket over her body, and they untie her, and then she they tell her, what happened? We're gonna call the police right away. So they did, yeah. So she told them what happened. She told them the name of the guy and where he lives and everything. And so then the police went there, but he was gone. Yeah, he took off. And I don't know if they ever caught him, but he might be doing this still, yeah, in other parts of the country. And so this is, this is where you have, this is deceiving. Yeah, this is deception, and I was talking about that the past couple of days. But this is where sometimes these medicine people, this is obviously a fake, yeah, and he just made things up, because you see, the thing is, there is no such thing as a medicine wheel ceremony. It doesn't even exist. And if you hear about one, that it's fake, because there is no such ceremony. Yeah. So this is a true story. Yeah. Um, you know how I know it to be true? The woman contacted me. Yeah, she told me firsthand, and she sent me copies of the police report. So I have them. Yeah, and the guy is from Pine Ridge, and he's on the prowl. Yeah, this is what a lot of them do. So that's why I said when you're gonna go see a medicine man for help, you should really check him out. Yeah, and if there's anything about him that makes you feel uncomfortable, then you leave him alone. It doesn't matter if everybody is telling you, yeah, he's a good guy, go to him, he does a lot of wonderful things. Even if all you hear is good things about him, if he makes you feel uncomfortable, get the hell out of there. Because see, they do have their victims. Yeah, they do good things, but they still do bad things too on the side. Yeah, so you really have to check them out. Test drive them somehow. Ask them questions and stuff. And as soon as he says that, yeah, we're doing a sweat lodge, so I'll make a place for you. See, that's taking choice away from you. Because what a healthy one will say is, would you like to participate with us? That's what a healthy one would say. You see, it's all in the way they speak, the way they handle themselves. So that's this is not this is something to be aware of. Yeah, this is something to be aware of if you're seeking for help like that. I mean, I know lots of guys that do things like this, and they are not my friends. Yeah, but I know them, and all I want to say is this: is that just because somebody says they're a medicine man does not mean they're good. And in most cases, they're not medicine men. They're fakes. They just know knowledge to pretend to be one to fool you. There's a lot of those people.